Welcome to another episode of the Life in Motion podcast.
Our topic for this episode, language for movement. How empowering physical therapy students and professionals to effectively communicate towards non-English speaking communities they serve can be of benefit to us all. Our guest in this episode is Emmanuelle Arabian, a third-year student from the Rutgers School of Health Professions in Newark, in the Doctor of Physical Therapy program class of 2021. She is the founder and immediate past president of the Bonjour, Hola, Ooh La La DPT Language Club at Rutgers University, Newark. It is very apropos as she is fluent in French and proficient in both Spanish and Armenian. Emma Arabian, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I have always been fascinated by polyglots, people like you who can speak multiple languages. I mean, that's 4, including English. May I ask, was this because of your heritage and upbringing, a natural talent or affinity for language, a combination of both, or something else entirely?
So this is what happened. I'm French. I was born in France. I lived in France all my life. My mom, her mom comes from Spain, and I stayed with her a lot. So she spoke Spanish to me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad, my mom's dad, comes from Italy. So my mom speaks fluent Italian as well. I took it at school, so I can get by, but I'm not like proficient in it.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is Armenian.
Oh.
So we also grew up learning Armenian and going to Armenian school on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
So with one family, my dad's family, we always speak Armenian. And with my mom's family, it was always a mix of French and Spanish. And I guess I had the ear for it. We came to the U.S. the first time. We moved a lot. The first time we came, I was in 4th grade, and I learned English.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went back to France, and I knew English, obviously. And then we came back recently. It was 2012 that we definitely stayed here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always in the family. Everybody speaks multiple languages.
Right. I hear that's a very European thing to do. It's very traditional. And I can't imagine, how old were you when you first moved here?
I was in 4th grade. So
4th grade, right? So can you imagine a 4th grader who speaks French? Oh my goodness, you must have been such a cutie pie back then, right?
Yeah, we were
Everybody
in
must
New
have
Orleans, so they
okay.
speak French. So I was in
Patois?
a dual language school.
That's wonderful. That's great. So having all these languages, something I tease polyglots a lot about is if you accidentally drop something on your foot, what expressive words language comes out?
So that's a question we get asked a lot, right? Like, what language you dream in? What language do you think in?
Right.
What language do you express yourself? Well, I think it depends on where I am, right? Like, it depends on who I've been talking to while that accident happened. Right? If I'm like at school, it's probably going to be something in English.
Okay.
Home, and I was speaking like in French, that is probably going to be something in French. If I'm at like my in-laws' house and we were all speaking Armenian, it's probably going to be something like in Armenian. I think it all depends on what I was talking at that moment.
Right.
And what my brain was like, what switch it was on.
Right. Language is like movement. It's very context specific. That's great. See, we had this podcast thinking that my audience is going to learn, but really I'm learning the most here just listening to all our various guests. So that's awesome. Now, one interesting thing about America is, according to the 2006 and 2008 ACS, or the American Community Survey, they listed over 300 languages are spoken in the U.S. And what they also noticed was, in other literature, was people with limited English proficiency, those who speak English less than very well, they tend to have less optimal or poorer health outcomes. And you, as a physical therapist, that just seems like a natural match, you know? I have to ask you a personal story, though. Where did you get the inspiration to start a language club, you know, while you're neck deep in physical therapy study material?
Yes. So I actually created language club my first semester of
In
PT school.
DPT program?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
So it's been going on for 2 years now. So I was actually reading an article on the Pulse blog, and it was this student explaining what sets you apart.
Oh.
I remember it was a lady. I don't remember the title of the article, but she was explaining what sets you apart from everybody else. Because it's true, when we graduate, they don't look at your grades, they don't look at those kind of things, your GPA, things like that. We're all graduating with the same degree. What sets you apart from someone else when you're going for a job? And yes, you can have like all those extracurricular activities, which I do have, like I volunteer a lot and I like to dip my toes in a lot of things. I love that. Yeah. But I was like, okay, well, something that can set me apart is my language. But I realized that when I was working as an aide, we had a couple of Spanish speaking patients that came in and didn't speak any English. And I was the only one who had some Spanish. But I also realized that physical therapy is very specific, language specific. It has like certain words and certain expressions that is not your everyday language. So I didn't have it. So sometimes they would ask me, okay, can you translate this or can you translate that? And I would do my best, but I didn't have those physical therapy words. I also speak with my best friend who is in France, and I was explaining to her what we're learning. And I'm like, well, I can't find the words because they're not your everyday words. They're very physical therapy specific. And it was things that I figured, well, why can't we do a peer-to-peer learning experience so that it's someone else from the class who speaks another language, who teaches us, so that we all can learn together, help each other learn another language, and it's gonna set all of us apart, that we took some or have some of that vocabulary that can help us treat patients in different languages. Because I know you guys are from the Philippines and you speak it, but I don't know how well you speak it that you can treat patients in it. I know it's the physical therapy language is very specific.
I'm trying to imagine your room full of different language speakers, right? And you gotta say it in Armenian and French and Spanish. I gotta hear it. Pyramidal decussation. when the track crosses over, like how do you translate that? Do you even translate that, right?
Yeah.
Why does this side have a stroke, right? So that's a great idea, and you open this topic up to, I guess, faculty and students and people who are interested.
Yeah, well, we actually opened it up to everyone at first. Everyone that was at the Rutgers School of Health Profession.
Oh, not just the physical therapy students.
No, at first
nice.
it was for everyone. But we figured that every profession has language-specific needs.
Right.
And it was too much hassle for me to have to translate for everyone else. And it was also too much hassle because it was only one student per other program.
Right.
So it was maybe one from the dietary profession, one from the nursing profession. And it was, well, if you get more people, I can help you create a similar group.
Right.
But we then realized after the first semester that it was better to make it PT specific and just focus on that. Same thing. We started doing 2 language each lecture
Mm-hmm.
And then we found that it was too complicated because we only had 1 hour. By the time students came and had to go back to class, it was 45 minutes. It was complicated to do 2 languages in
Right.
45 minutes. So we then focused on only one. It was a learning as we went.
What is what? But you know what? You were on to something really great. It wasn't a big ask. It was only a 1 hour thing. And the lessons you learned, you kept building on it, knock it down to one language. I love how the faculty was very receptive with it. Was it like a lot of resources to get going?
So we first had to find a mentor, which Dr. George is our mentor.
Oh, Dr. George, yeah.
Because she speaks Spanish.
Oh,
and we actually had a bunch of different faculty that was interested to be a part of it, but there was schedule conflicts and things like that. And then we worked with the student organization and we made the club official. And after that, we were given resources from the school. So they gave us, we were allowed to not rent, but rent rooms. We had rooms for the meetings. We were able to order food. So we started by doing a lecture every 2 weeks, and we found that that was too much. And then we drop it down to once a month. And then we found that with classes and stuff, it was a little complicated. And then by final week, it was a little, not everyone wanted to do that. So we decided to do 3 meetings, 1 each month, each semester. The 2 first meetings would be actual learning and practicing. And then the last meeting would be cultural with different cultures, music, different food, and
multicultural night, basically.
Yes, exactly. Something like that. Yeah. So we did that. We did 2 because the third one got canceled because of coronavirus. And yeah. And so we have resources from that, and we have a good turnout from because I'm a third year, so now the second years. We have a new board, so they're going to continue the tradition, and that's it.
That's a great story. How you took something which was inspiration from our parent association, and at first you thought it was just something to help you, but I love how you took it, and now it's helping other physical therapists. The future of physical therapy. The students learn more languages so they can serve their patients better. That's great. A lot of people may or may not know this, but Title VII requires that any facility that accepts Medicare Part A or federal funding, they have to have an interpreter. But lots of outpatient clinics like mine, we are not required because it's an arm and a leg to have translation services, like medical translation services. And you've been working, we can work with ad hoc translators, family members and whatnot, and you do the best that you can. But even better than that is a physical therapist who may have had exposure as early as second year or third year trying to learn different languages, especially the major languages in the area you think you're going to be practicing.
Yes.
So at this part of the podcast, what Emma and I thought would be funny and fun to do is I'm now flashing 6 phrases here that we normally deal with most clinical scenarios. And Emma was so kind to look at these phrases and figure out how to speak and answer them in the 3 languages she knows. So this is the language cup. And what we're going to do is I'm going to randomly pick one of the 3 languages, and it's going to be blinded because, we're trying to do science here and chicanery at the same time. So I am pulling out one of the languages.
All
you
right.
see it, Emma? And my eyes are closed. I can't see what it is. And I'm putting it down. And Lord help me, I'm going to try to guess what language the question she's about to tell me right now.
Dans une échelle de 1 à 10, 10 étant le pire et 1 étant le mieux, où serait votre douleur?
So this is from a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least amount of pain and 10 being the worst, how bad is your pain?
Yes.
Okay,
Good
so I got the
job.
phrase. I got the phrase. Is that Spanish?
No.
Oh, I'm totally off. Oh, I'm totally off. I'm totally off. All right, so let's have you answer me. Let me see if I can understand the answer.
It's French.
It's French. Okay. Is it possible for you to answer me in French?
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
going to try to see if I can understand what you're trying to tell me.
From this question?
Yes, from this question.
Oh, so let me think. Ma douleur est un 8.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Say the last part again.
Ma douleur est un 8.
My pain scale is a 9?
8.
8. Oh man. There's
You're
this
close.
big play called Hamilton right now, and there's a big song there where they count in French. So I was like, un, deux, trois, quatre, sept, six, sept, huit. So I wasn't thinking it fast enough, right? So
Yeah.
that wasn't a complete disaster, but that shows you right there how important it is to at least have some sort of language proficiency, or getting the best translation you can, right?
Yeah.
All right, on to question number 2. And Emma will choose the question, and this is the language we're going to work with. Can you see the...
Right.
All right. Close my eyes again. All right. What's the question?
Avez-vous des questions concernant le programme d'exercice à la maison?
Oof. Sorry, one more time.
Avez-vous des questions concernant le programme d'exercice à la maison?
Oof. Was that Armenian?
No.
No. So I'm just totally done here. The evaluate, just pack it up. There's no evaluation to be done here. What did you ask me?
Do you have any question about the home exercise program?
Oh my goodness. And that language was?
French.
French. Oh my goodness. Yeah, remind me to learn French before I move to Louisiana, okay?
Yes.
All right. One more question. All right. This is the next question.
All right.
All right.
¿Qué es su goal con nuestra visita?
One more time.
¿Qué es su goal con nuestras visitas?
Do you have any more questions for me from this session? So one more time.
¿Qué es su goal con nuestras visitas?
What brings you to physical therapy today? No, I give up. What was the question?
What goal? The entire question would be, what would be a goal meaningful to you that I can
Oh
help
gosh. So look at that English sentence that's just so long. And say that again for me.
¿Qué es su goal con nuestra visita?
The English sentence is like this long, and then you just contracted it to this short. And what language was that?
Spanish.
That was Spanish. Oh my goodness gracious. So hopefully this helps our viewers understand how great it is and how important it is, how critical it is to have somebody who can really help you translate as you're trying to figure out how to best help our patients, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is a great exercise. Now that we've gotten the experience what it's like to practice with this language, what lessons since the club's inception have you learned that you think you would like to share with our listeners?
It's very important that even if you have a translator, to have a little bit, or at least be curious to have a little bit of knowledge on another language, just because I've been in clinic that has someone that can translate for us, and they don't always translate what you say. And they don't always tell you what the patient tells them. So having a little bit of knowledge helps you treat your patients better. But it's not only about just language, it's also about culture, which is something that we started, the new board started incorporating and learning about different culture, because it is true that culture is just as important, because some cultures have like your wife had done a lecture about how in the Asian culture,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put everybody in there, there's
Right.
a big respect of the elders.
Yeah,
And
filial piety, right? That's a very Asian values, right?
yes, and that they don't let them do anything, and that they let them sit and things like that, and that they come to physical therapy and we tell them you have to move, you have to move, and then they get home and the family members don't let them.
Right.
So it's something like the culture and having those little understanding can now help us work with the families and work with the patients in order to better serve them and have them stay at the end of the day, they're going to stay clients for life because they saw that you made the effort to meet them where they are and understand them instead of having them understand you.
By being patient focused and you understand the value of therapeutic alliance of building that relationship, it's as simple as, learning a phrase or two, or, learning what's important to them, and cultures are not monolithic. They are not all the same.
Yes.
But there are always touch points that tend to be similar, and you can ask about that. One of the jokes I tease some of my patients, and I tell them, listen, I understand this might be a stereotype, but you're Kenyan. Does that mean you run fast? You say it like in a lighthearted way, but you talk about something that's positive that about a culture, right? So, and that's one way you build that connection. And that's just part of the broadening of your skills, not just the hard sciences, but the survival or soft science of making that empathic connection with our patients.
Yeah. And it's a great skill to have, like, as an everyday life. Like, even when you want to travel, it's nice to have a little bit of knowledge on the culture and the language. And even if it's just to order a taxi.
Right.
Or a pizza.
I mean, I'm flashing a picture right now of a map of the United States here, and you can see here that in some areas of the country, there are so many languages being spoken. So if you look at this map, and you can see there are just some places where it just is in your favor to learn whatever the English other than language that's spoken in the area to help you become a better clinician, right? So that's now, if we had students or PT professionals who would like to reach out to you or who are inspired by the Bonjour, Hola, Olala language club, how would our viewers and listeners be able to reach out to you?
They can email me.
Mm-hmm.
I can send you my email, and
I'm flashing it right here. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you can, they can email me. I'm always on my phone, so I'll answer pretty fast. And if I can't personally help them, then I will try to direct them to someone who can.
Oh, that's great. And this is also the website on the Rutgers University webpage. I'm flashing it right now with more information about the language club. Thank you so much for joining us today, Emma. It was a fun time trying to figure out different languages. And, we are so grateful. We are so optimistic and proud of the next generation of PTs, such as yourself, coming up. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
Thank you for listening today to the Life in Motion podcast. Striving for excellence doesn't demand perfection. Just be a little better in all that we do than yesterday. This is Ben Aguila. Till our next episode. God bless.